Most species have a section of their existence where they attempt to uplift any and all creatures around them, pets, prey, and even sometimes predator creatures, in an attempt to gain companionship from a creature that is not of their species. This is often catastrophic, and regularly results in the destruction of one species and the birth of another. Humans, however, decided to take an utterly different approach. They skipped the uplift process, instead deciding to directly go for creating unique species. A lot were critical failures. The GEC agreement and the huge panoply of demi-human species that now exist across the galaxy are testament to that. There were, however, several lessons humans took away from this. Their own gene structure is very robust, at least when it comes to minor modifications. Enhanced eyesight, alternative ear structure, a return of a previously vestigial appendage, and dozens of other minor enhancements allow for the creation of a new human species, Homo sapiens astra. Though the fact that this species was just a slightly changed version of humanity allowed for all humans to still interbreed. The other thing that's important is that humans have companion species reaching into the hundreds. They will domesticate anything, and I mean anything. There are reports of humans domesticating creatures that have been considered untamable by the local species for centuries, as well as them breeding those creatures to use for companionship or work. Every species in the galaxy has something it's good at. Humans are the galaxy's packmasters and trainers. If you need to fly, get an Auron. Or if you need to swim, get an Orcus. If you want a friend, find a human. Or so the saying goes. There are plenty of stories to illustrate this. I will not go into them here. Most species assumed this was the end of it. Humanity has tamed and trained anything that was intelligent enough to tame and train. Then came the beginning of Project Kennel. We were wrong. Humanity decided that, just like they changed their own genetic structure, they would change that of their companion creatures. Several worlds were dedicated to this project. It was no uplift project, and there was no intent on creating another sapient species. Rather, this project's objective was to allow for their companion creatures to live alongside them for longer, or to help them better, or simply to satisfy humans' desire for a specific creature. The first the galaxy heard about this project was when the humans developed the military group Fenrir. Fast attack groups were a well-established thing within galactic combat, either in space or ground combat. These groups always used some kind of light vehicle or similar, often making them vulnerable to the constraints of such a vehicle, the need for fuel, and the noise they produced. Fenrir, however, did not use vehicles. Rather, they were the first use of Project Kennel's genetic manipulation and cybernetic enhancement process. The humans had taken their canine companions and rebuilt them. These friendly and fluffy quadrupeds were once apex hunters on the human home planet. Humans, however, had captured, tamed, and bred them for centuries, to the point where the number of species of this canine were as numerous as there were types of human. They had been with humans so long that they were codependent on a genetic level. Project Kennel had taken all of that and reawoken the ancient hunting instincts and predatory natures of these creatures, increasing their size and power as well. These creatures were then augmented and enhanced. One would assume that such creatures would be impossible to control. But once again, humans proved that they were more than capable of taming anything. Supposedly raised by one human from a young age, these canine hunters bonded to their human. Each squad was a pack, their commander the alpha of that pack. Let loose on the forest world of Grineer, these Fenrir squads were terrors upon the field. The animals they rode were as tough as tanks, and several times as fast. Their riders were as skilled as any human soldier could be, and devoted to their animals, who were, in turn, devoted to the pack. After this display of what Project Kennel could do, there was a sudden eruption of other creatures across all of humanity. It was clear that now the cat was out of the bag, so to speak, that the secret no longer needed to be kept. Canines large enough to ride were commonplace amongst human families. While work animals were made stronger and more robust to make their lives easier and take on more work, there were companions made that could survive the void to aid in space rescue and recovery. Creatures that could smell moves and aid in avoiding and recovering from mental illness and trauma were produced. After a few years, these kennel creatures became common all across the galaxy. The most popular and commonplace, though, was not any of the extremely odd creatures, or ones with huge changes, but rather ones that would live as long as the average age of their owner's species. The Kennel Project became more than just a scientific research institute. but also one of the most profitable businesses. When interviewed and asked why he'd started all of this, the head of the project and lead researcher pointed at a cat that was more machine than animal, and seemed to be sleeping next to the heater in the room. "I never wanted anyone else to have to feel like what I felt when Mr. Fluffles was supposed to be put to sleep," he said. The cat, the source of this galaxy-changing project, the reason for which the entire galaxy now had specialist companion animals, simply rolled over to get an even heat across his body and ignored everything going on around it.